Hi everybody, Jared here with Day Traders FX. Hopefully you guys are having a great week. We've got some good moves to talk about and a little review of some things that have happened. Quickly, a look at the US markets. Everything closed down today. Gold being a big loser. Actually recovered quite a bit, but it was down quite a bit today. Oil is still just kind of hovering around that $90 mark, and you can see the Dow and S&P dropped a bit as well. As far as news went today, new home sales came out a little bit worse than expected. Not by much, but enough to kind of put a damper on Wall Street. Coming into tomorrow, you can see that we have a good couple of announcements. We've got some UK and European news coming out during the UK session. We have durable goods for the US, which will typically is a pretty big mover, so we'll have a look at how things go with that. And then we've got some unemployment claims for the US as well as pending home sales. So we have quite a few announcements for the US session tomorrow. Quick little look at what we had so far. If you've been keeping up with my daily videos in the chat and so on and so forth, Twitter, been talking a lot about this 12900 level. This right here is 12900, and I've been talking about a break of that and a continuation down to 12750. 12800 potentially, but 12750 most likely. Now you can see we had a low right here of 128.35, so we got a nice run below 12900, and this thing really continued down nicely today, and then it's just kind of bouncing off the bottom of the pivot range for the day. Now again, what we're looking at is this overall range here on the daily chart. And we know that if we start to make our way below the 23% fib, we have a really good chance of making it into that 38% fib. And that's what I'm still counting on. We're getting a little bit of a bounce. But another thing that we have that's great to look at is a target here. We have a very nice target to kind of solidify some of what I was talking about. This channel has been holding into place pretty nicely and running up this area. As soon as we get done with this little bit of retracement, and as long as we can stay below 12900, we are bouncing off this daily 200-day moving average, so that's something to look at. But as long as we can stay below 12900, I believe we're going to be able to make it down into this 38% fib, which is around 127. 40, 50, which also happens to be a nice little support here, which also happens to be part of this ascending channel. And so this is my target, and this is also my reversal point to start sell or to pick up some buys and start taking the pair back up. So we're looking to take it down to there, short it down, and then buy it on up. So still looking at that, still counting on that. What we have so far is a little bit of a bounce, a little bit of a run, and I'm looking for this to work its way up into the 128.85 slash 12900. Get some pretty tight stops, keep them above 12900, and start to short this pair once again. And so that's what I'm looking for the kind of the immediate term movement. Now, if it doesn't get all the way up there, which is definitely a possibility, then let's look at some of the short-term charts. And short-term time frames here where we see that it's kind of running up some trend lines, and we can watch for some little breakouts to give us an opportunity to enter back short again on this pair. So that's what I'm looking for. One thing to keep an eye on is that we have the 200-day moving average on the 15-minute chart, which is a great level, and this is currently at about 128.95. And so that's just a perfect little target to aim for, number one, and to also be looking to get our reversal in with, again, tight stops above 12900. So that's what I'm looking for, and that's where I think we've got some nice some nice opportunities. So as far as buying, if there's anything to trade up to it, I'm probably going to stay out of this one in particular. It's kind of messy, and I think I'll just look for that opportunity to short once it gets up there. But it looks like there's some decent legs on it, so we'll see where it goes. Not even going to talk about the pound dollar. Not interested in that one in the slightest as of the last while. Euro yen has done some pretty nice stuff for us. The euro yen is, first of all, kind of running up this. You can see this trend line that we have right here, and the euro yen has really been testing this, and it's just come into contact with this as well, which is also from this run up just below the 38% fib. So this could be all the euro yen has, or it could be headed a little bit lower. I'm looking more on the shorter term scale for the euro yen, but this is definitely a possible turning point for the euro yen. Definitely a possible turning point, but it has been consolidating below the 38% fib. So that's kind of one of those things where I think maybe it's going to head a little bit lower. But again, we don't want to get too speculative. Let's just trade it and go for it. You can see right here, this is consistent on the 1 hour chart and on the 15-minute chart, which is about 100.0506, which is just a few pips above where it currently is. It's about at 02. And I'm looking for 05 or 06 here to be a nice little level. And if we get an open above this, then I'm going to be planning on taking this into the 200-day EMA. So we've got our 200-day moving average here. If we can get that open above about 100.05, 06, right in that area, then I want to take it up into this 200-day moving average on the 15-minute chart. Great little target there, and it's about 30 pips away. That sits at about 100.35, 36, right in that area. So that's my short-term trade for the euro yen that I'm looking for. Now, likewise, we've kind of got some ascending trend lines that we can watch for as well, but I'm actually pretty set on getting this thing up into this 200-day moving average and shorting it from this upper area, upper resistance. Now, of course, as always, you definitely can, we never know what the market's going to do, so just watch these little trend lines as well. This is a pretty good one, and this could end up breaking down and heading lower. But it's coming off some pretty strong support, which is why I'm a little more set on a possible buy opportunity into that 200-day moving average. So there we go on the euro yen, some great setups. Aussie dollar's kind of doing the same thing for us. It's bouncing around here and just hopping all over the place. You can see that right around this 103.65.70. Let's say 103.70 just to play it safe. That's about right there. But really, these candle bodies have been unable to open above 106. Or excuse me, 103.67. So an open above this should be able to take us once again just a little bit higher into some of these upper moving averages. We've got currently we have just shy of 20 pips to get to that 200-day moving average on the 15-minute chart, but I think this one may have a little more potential to it as well. So I'm looking for that. Otherwise, I'm looking for just a nice little breakout. If this thing runs up into that 200-day moving average on the 15-minute chart and continues to kind of consolidate down from there, then this trend line is going to be that much more interesting, and we're going to be looking for a breakout down from there. So that's what we'll be watching. As far as the rest of these go, gold, as mentioned, gold had a big drop today, and then it's recovered almost a good chunk of its losses, not all of them, but a big move there. And then one quick thing to look at on this euro dollar, I sent this around on Twitter and on a couple of other areas, and I just want to remind that I think this is a very interesting chart on the monthly chart to look at. You can see that here's the start of QE3, runs up into, or excuse me, good grief, QE1 runs up, QE1 ends, comes down. Start of QE2 up, QE2 ends down. And now we're at the start of QE3 and it's coming on up. Now, one thing I'm looking at here is the weekly chart where it's still struggling. It's come off the top of that channel quite a bit, and it's going to be interesting to see, if it's going to be able to break above that. I think we need to, get down to 127.50 but stay above 127.50. If we get below 127.50, then I think we've invalidated this whole pattern right here. So I think 127.50 is going to be a pretty strong level to keep an eye on. And so that's what I'm looking for. But so far, great little setup on that euro dollar and some really interesting things in the works. So let's keep an eye on that. Best of luck, and I'll have more details coming out on Twitter shortly.